Sorry for being a mess. I gave my best, but was too late.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are doing well. For today's video, I'm going to be sharing a tutorial on this look that you see on my face right here. Now this is supremely light on the base and very glam on the eyes, and overall it's pretty simple, and I promise you that you can easily do it, especially if you practice, and right now is the best time to practice. Coronavirus. Anyway, I hope you guys will enjoy this look, and it's actually pretty long lasting, so you can wear it underneath the mask. Because of the base being so light, you can literally just rub it across and nothing would happen because there are thin layers that are involved. So yes, if you want to know how I got this look, then please keep on watching. Alrighty, I'm going to start off by doing my skin prep. I know you must have heard this 1,000 times till now in different videos, but your skin prep is supremely important. If you do your skin prep right, half of your battle is already won. I'm going to use my PAC Makeup Moisture Lotion. I'm almost about to run out of it, and I freaking love this stuff. This is so good, and I've been a constant with this. Now I need to open it up and scoop out the product because I'm at that stage of the product life, but I like to use a little bit of this. It's very rich and very emollient, but it literally just melts into your skin. So you see how right now it's already like melting into this gel consistency. I love how lightweight and beautiful it is. I'll show you how this literally just wazoops into the skin, and I'm just gonna be applying it all over my face, giving my skin a nice little massage because I deserve all of the pampering, and so do you. After giving my skin about 20 to 30 seconds, I'm going to move on to a foundation. Now this Makeup Moisture Lotion does prime up my skin, but if you have supremely oily skin or if you have pores that need a little bit of extra help, you can definitely go in with a silicone primer or just a filling primer or whatever you feel would suit your skin. For me personally, this Makeup Moisture Lotion does it all. So the foundation I'm going to move on to is Maybelline's Fit Me Foundation. I have fallen in love with this foundation all over again. When it launched, I loved it, and then I lost track of it and I moved on to other foundations. But recently I came back to this and I've fallen in love with this. It's super thin, it's super lightweight, has good coverage, and now it also has a pump. So this is the pre-medieval time sort of a foundation when there was no pump, and again I've been using a lot of this, and that's why it's taking me so long to get a decent amount of foundation. But I'm going to use about this much of foundation, and this would spread easily across my face without even trying to like work it in, because I'm going to be using one of my most favorite brushes from NYX. This is their buffing brush. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of foundation. You can also use your fingers and just apply this foundation before, but I'm just going to pick it up directly with the brush, and I'm going to start from the centers of my face, and I'm literally just buffing this in. So I'm just going in small strokes like this. You can also go in circular strokes to work it in, but I'm just going to be buffing it all around. I'm going to avoid sort of my eye area, and I'm only going to go in the inner corners a little bit to hide the darkness, but on my upper lid I'm going to avoid putting this foundation. You see, even with just covering up your under eyes, your skin starts to look so even and so nice. I love how it just makes your skin look so natural yet so nice. But my main problem areas have to be my under eyes and around my mouth, where I do have a little bit of pigmentation like most women. So I'm going to cover those areas up, and that's why we start working from the centers of our face, because the center is the first thing that anyone would notice. And once your centers are taken care of, you can literally take the smallest amount and work on the sides. You actually don't want to take a lot of foundation towards your jawline, because that's where it tends to get a little cakey. And the same thing when you're going around your forehead, you want to pick up a very small amount, because foundation does tend to cake up really easily around your hairline, and you don't want it to be so detectable. Obviously you want people to know you're wearing makeup because you spent your money on it and time on putting it on, but you don't want it to be that detectable. So I'm just making sure that there is not a lot of foundation when I'm going in towards my forehead as well as on my jawline. So those are the areas where you want to keep the foundation slightly low, and you can lower it up on the centers of your face. For concealers, I've been trying out a lot of different concealers. I've been going back and forth with a lot of different concealers, but today I'm going to be using the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop concealer, because again it's supremely full coverage but it's not heavy on the skin, and this particular shade, which is True Beige, has a lot of yellow undertones, so it would cancel the darkness I have around my eyes without it being too stark. So I'm just going to apply a little bit on my inner corners, and you can see it's supremely yellow, and I'm also going to apply a little bit on my outer corners. We're using very little product for everything, and all of these are lightweight products. I'm also going to apply it on the corners of my nose again, where I do have a little bit of hyperpigmentation, and a little bit on the corners of my mouth, just right there. This would just cancel out any pigmentation there, and it would make my skin look more flawless and more, even toned. So I'm just using my favorite concealer brush. This is PAC 272. I'm going to start stippling this concealer into place. I'm not moving it a lot, just a little bit, but I'm just stippling this basically into place because I don't want the potency to go. I want it to be where I've placed it. So I'm just stippling this into place. With whatever's left on my brush from the nose and mouth concealer, I'm just going to apply on the tip of my nose, just right there. I'm not picking any extra product, just using whatever is there already on the brush. I'm going to start working on my eyes now, and I'm starting with the outer corner. I'm just stippling this again into place. I'm not extending it a lot towards my hairline, but just making sure it's there, and it just gives my eyes a lifted look. So I'm just blending this into place, and I'm going to blend the inner corner out. I'm going to take it a little higher towards my brow just to conceal the inner corner darkness that I have, and then I'm going to look up and make sure that the darkness underneath my eye is covered up too. And then again, with whatever's remaining on my brush, I'm going to go on the center part of my eye and make sure that everything is nice and even out. I'm going to go back in with my foundation brush and make sure that there are no clear demarcations and everything looks nice and blended in. So I'm just going to go over the areas that I've used concealer on, just to make sure that we're all nicely blended out. For my powder, I'm going to use my MAC Studio Fix Compact, and this is one hell of a powder. This actually stays underneath the mask as well, and I was so impressed by that because none of my makeup till now has stayed underneath the mask and it always ends up transferring, but this one does not transfer, so I was blown away. I'm using another NYX brush. This is their powder brush, so I'm going to pick up a little bit of that powder. Again, you don't want a lot, just a little bit of that powder. I'm going to powder my under eyes just to make sure that the concealer does not move or budge from there. If you are on the oilier side, feel free to powder all over your face. This compact also has a lot of coverage in there, so if you want to escape all together on your foundation, you can just use this all over your face to get a nice layer of pigment, like a nice layer of coverage, but not supremely heavy. I'm also going to be applying this around my mouth because I do express and talk a lot, and I can get expression lines and smile lines really quickly, so this helps them to elongate my wear time of makeup. So I'm just going to be applying the powder on my smile lines, and literally I'm done with the powdering. I do not powder the rest of my face because I am from the dry skin type. If you are oily, again, you can go ahead and use this powder all over your face. It does not make you look matte and dry and cakey. It does make sure that your makeup is mattified, but you still look pretty glowy overall. For my bronzer today, I'm going to be using Benefit's Hoola bronzer. Now, I do have a whole video on dupes and everything, so you can definitely check it out if you're looking for a nice dupe. I would leave links for you guys in the bottom bar. But this again is a investment piece. If you get this, it's going to last you a lifetime, and this literally suits a lot of different skin tones. However, they do have shades lighter and darker. So I'm going to use the brush that comes along with it, and I'm going to start sculpting out my cheekbones. And I'm just going to apply a little bit of product and then push it upwards like this with the help of the brush that comes in the product itself. Pushing up the bronzer like this just gives it a more natural look, and your face does look a little bit more sculpted. And I'm also going to push it back into my hairline because again, that just makes your skin look more sun-kissed. I'm going to do the same on the other side, so I'm just picking up a little bit of product. I'm going to apply it on my cheekbones. I'm just placing it first where I want it to be, where I want the ending point to be, and then I'm going to push it upwards, and I'm also going to blend it into my hairline. And then I'm going to take a little bit of this bronzer. I'm going to apply it on my hairline again because that is one of the spots that the sun would naturally hit your face the first. So I'm just applying it on my hairline, and this time I'm going to blend it a little bit downwards, not a lot. You don't want to drag it a lot, especially if you have a smaller forehead like I do. You don't want it to look even smaller, so I'm just going to drag it very slightly. So I'm just dragging a little bit of that, and then I'm going to apply this on my jawline and a little bit on my chin too. So I'm giving my chin that sun-kissed look, but I'm mainly focusing this on my jawline. Last but not the least, I'm going to take this brush and apply a little bit on my nose, literally 2 stripes like that, making sure I don't have any excess product on my brush, and then I'm just going to blend it out. Moving on to blush, I'm going to use my Milani blush, another product I've been using for a while. I've actually been able to flatten out the rose, which is a big deal given the fact that I wasn't truly a blush person before this year. So I'm just going to use a little bit of that blush. It has that peachy, coral, pinky white to it, which I love. So I'm going to use a very little amount, making sure I don't have a lot on my brush. And I'm going to apply it on the top of my cheeks right here, where my cheeks are the fullest, the meatiest. And then I'm going to push it back into my bronzer like that. Again, this just makes sure that your blush and your your bronzer look like one. It looks like your cheeks are flushed by the heat, by the sun, by the winter, because we're transitioning, and then it just hits back into the place where you've been naturally sun-kissed. So it just looks very cohesive, very natural, if I may say so myself. So I'm going to do the same on the other side, and I'm just going to apply it on the tops of my cheeks and push it back. Oh, and if you're wondering, I'm using PAC 375 for applying my blush. Moving on to the good and glowy stuff, I'm going to be highlighting my face up, and I'm going to be using Wet n Wild's Illuminating Powder. This is in the shade Blossom Glow. A lot of people love Precious Petals. For me, Blossom Glow works better, so I'm going to be using this. And I'm using this Huda Beauty brush, and I'm going to pick up a little bit, a very tiny bit of that highlighter, tapping off the excess, and I'm again starting on the tops of my cheeks, and I'm just going to apply a little bit. So I'm going to build this highlighter up. I'm not going to go ham in one go. I'm just going very gently, and I'm actually just patting this, and I'm not swiping it across. I'm just patting in the product little by little onto my skin, and I'm rounding it on my cheek like that, and then I'm taking it back towards my brow a little bit. So we're just working in that figure. I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but there was a phase when we all wanted our highlighters to be blinding, like blinding. And now I'm into subtle highlighters suddenly, so I think we're transitioning. Makeup trends keep on changing, and I think it's one of those changes. Of course, if you still want like an out there highlighter, you can definitely do that, because one thing is trends and one thing is choice, and I think choice trumps trends any day, and it should, because our individual choices are so different. Like even when there was blinding highlighter, I know people who were like, I don't like a blinding highlighter, and that's good that you have an individual taste and you stand by that. So I think an individual taste should always trump trend. So let me know, what are you into these days? Blinding highlighter, subtle highlighter? I've just been liking my highlighter to be a little on the subtle side these days. So yeah, if you didn't follow along, I just applied it on the tip of my nose, on the bridge of my nose, just a little bit, on my cupid's bow, and then with whatever's left on my brush, not picking up anything extra, I'm just gonna go all over my forehead, just a tiny bit, so that I have this sheen that's very natural and from within sort of a glow. Now to make all of this come together, I'm going to be using my Smashbox Primer Water. Again, you can see I've been enjoying this quite a lot. So I'm just going to be spritzing my face with this primer water. And what this does is it also just meshes your makeup together, elongates the wear time of your makeup, and makes it look a little natural, along with me ingesting it and probably dying because it can be poisonous. Now that we're done with our base, let's move on to the eyes. I'm going to keep it pretty simple yet pretty classy. I'm going to start off by using NYX's Micro Brow Pencil. I have used multiple of these pencils. I love it so much. It's so good. It's mostly on the affordable side. I won't say it's super affordable, but this just makes your brows look so good. So I'm going to start off with the spoolie side. It does have a spoolie inbuilt, so that's great. And I'm just going to brush my brow through, because if there's any foundation, powder, concealer, anything stuck in there, I want it to be out right now. And this would also give me a fair idea of where all I need to fill in and where all I need to work. So I'm just brushing them upwards. Using the pencil side now, which is pretty thin and pretty precise, I'm just going to start drawing brow hair. I'm not underlining, overlining or anything today. I'm just drawing in strokes wherever I think strokes are required. I'm going for a much more natural brow. I think this is helpful for people who don't want a pretty defined brow or cannot do a pretty defined brow. I think this is also great for people who have pretty uneven brows. I do too. Like, my brows are from different universe. They're not even from the same universe. They're from different universe. So I'm just going to be drawing brow hair throughout my brows wherever I think they need a little bit of help. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the spoolie alongside just to soften out the stroke so that it looks like their brow hair and not pencil strokes. So I'm just going in with the pencil and then going back in with the spoolie. That's the drill. Keep on repeating for a couple of times till you get to a place that you like. The only thing to keep in mind here is that you have to go in the direction of the hair growth. If you go in the opposite direction or the direction that is not the direction of the hair growth, it won't look like hair stroke. So just make sure you stay in the direction of the hair growth. Now that the filling in is done, I'm going to take my Benefit Gimme Brow and I'm just going to run it through my brows, but I'm only going to run it upwards like this. I'm not going to push it back into my brow. Now, I'm not hugely into feathery brows only because I feel they don't suit my face or my style. Moving on to my eyeshadow, I'm going to use an eyeshadow base, and that's why I didn't apply any foundation, concealer, powder or anything of that sort. I'm going to use my NYX eyeshadow base again, something I've been using a lot of and I've emptied a lot of as well. I'm going to be using my MAC 252 brush today just to apply this this all over my eye. Again, a very little amount, and I'm just going to be spreading a thin layer of this. You don't require a lot of eyeshadow base, just a little bit goes a long way. And because this does have a tint to it, it also helps in covering up my dark circles a little. If you do have a lot of darkness around your eye, you can apply a little bit of concealer before going in with your base, but for me this base alone does it, so I don't really require a concealer underneath. So I'm just applying a little bit on both of my eyes just to prep them up, and this does tend to like drip really nicely onto my eyeshadow. I do really like this base. It also comes in a white shade, so if you are into colorful vibrant makeup, you might want to check out the white color because it would make your colors pop like no one's business. Moving on to eyeshadow, I'm going to be using Huda Beauty's Topaz Obsessions. I have been obsessed, as the name suggests, with this palette. I've been using this day in and day out every single time that I've been doing my makeup because of these beautiful warm neutral tones. But you definitely don't need to get this particular palette. I'm sure there is a palette out there which has these beautiful warm tones in a budget that suits your liking, so pick that up. Use whatever eyeshadows you have. This is about just figuring out what you like, what you don't like. I had this palette for the longest time and I never used it. Okay, I never used it, and then I picked it up one day randomly just to see what the colors look like on my eyes, and there's been no looking back. I literally have dents in these eyeshadow because I've been using only this palette to do my makeup whenever I'm coming on screen or even if I'm going out, which is rare, coronavirus. So yeah, I'm gonna be using this palette today, long story short, and the first shade I'm gonna use today is basically this warm yellow color right here, and I'm gonna be using a blending brush because I want a nice wash in my crease of this color. This is NYX 17, so I'm gonna pick up this color and I'm going to coat my brush. I'm going to make sure that there is yellow all over my brush and it's not concentrated in one place. So I have yellow all across my brush. I'm going to dust off the excess. I'm going to close my eye. I'm going to put it in my crease, and I'm going to go in circular motions and windshield wiper motions to ensure that I have enough color in my crease as much as I want. So I'm going to go and layer up this color again, just loading up my brush with that color but making sure there is not a lot of excess on there, and I'm just putting it right here. This would be a transitional color for me. This would just ensure that the colors don't look too stark in the crease and they don't look harsh in the crease. This would just make the transition from the darker to the lighter shade across my brow bone look a little bit more natural and a little bit more blended out. So I'm just going to be blending this color out, making sure that there are no harsh edges to this color. Now I did not set my eye with any base. With this base, the good thing is you can directly go on top with eyeshadows. It grips on but it does not cling on in a way that you cannot blend the eyeshadow, which is something I like. So I'm just going to be repeating the same step on the other eye, just placing this color in my crease and making sure that it is blended towards the brow bone. If it's not blended towards your lid space, it's fine, it's alright, because there are going to be other eyeshadows that are going to be topped off onto this, but make sure that the area that is going towards the brow bone is nicely blended out and looks very faded out. Using the same brush and color, I'm also going to wrap this color around my lower lash line. I generally do my lower lash line at the end, but these days I've been enjoying doing it while I'm doing my upper eye. It just gives me a fair idea of how my look is going and how the lower lash line would also look once it's all done, because I want it to be exactly like how it is in my head. So this just gives me a nice idea and I can just build upon it easier. Next up, I'm going to put this medium brown in my crease. It has this beautiful warmth to it. I'm going to be using my Zoeva Luxe Definer brush. I'm basically just picking up this color from the tip of my brush just to coat the tip of my brush and not the sides of my brush particularly. Tapping off the excess, and again I'm just going to go into my crease, but I'm going to keep it slightly lower than the yellow that I've placed so that I have again that ombre going on. So I'm just going to be going in circular motion as well as windshield wiper motion to get a nice diffused crease look going on. I'm also going to be connecting it to the outer V, outer corner, and then I'm going to eventually bring it down onto my lower lash line as well. But I'm just going to build upon my crease now. This is the time that you want to take. You want to go step by step and you want to build upon a color. You don't want to place a lot of color and then spend your entire life indoors just blending your crease out. Even though it's coronavirus, you don't want to spend your life like that. But just build upon it step by step, little by little, and just go take a little color at a time. Now if you're having a hard time blending this out, feel free to go back in with your first brush and just go in circular motion on the edges just to blend it out. Again, you want to focus on the area that's going towards your brow more. The lid space doesn't matter so much right now because we would be covering it up. So just make sure that the upper brow area is taken care of. Taking my PAC 260 pencil brush and this beautiful chocolate brown color, I'm just going to be picking it up on the tip of my brush, making sure it's nicely coated, dusting off the excess, and I'm going to apply it on my lash line area, and I'm just going to extend it out just a tiny bit. This is a technique that I've been loving doing, and I'm just going to stop about halfway on my eye. So basically I'm just creating a liner of sorts which is diffusing into my crease. So I'm going to thicken it as I go out. Generally we thin our wing liner out, but I'm going to be thickening my wing liner. So I'm going to keep it thinner as it comes near my mid lash line, and I'm going to thicken it out just like that. And I'm going to extend it out in a wing shape. So we have that going. That looks nice, and I'm going to use that same shadow again. I'm going to also apply it on the lower lash line, and I'm just going to stop about halfway because we stopped halfway on the top lash line as well. So I'm just going to stop right there, connect it to the wing that I've created, and then repeat the same on the other eye. So we're going to be creating a thick wing that is nice and pointed and thins out once it comes towards the center of your lash line, and we're going to repeat the same on our lower lash line. Now comes the fun part. I'm going to be picking up this beautiful bronze shade with the help of a synthetic flat brush. This is from Glasm Cosmetics, and I'm going to be coating both of the sides. I'm going to be dusting off the excess, and I'm going to be applying this all over my lid space area, and I'm going to be blending it into the brown liner that we've created. So I'm not going to be putting it on top of the brown, but I'm just going to be brushing it against the brown just like this, so that it looks like it's merging into the liner. And I'm also going to be blending it into my crease just a little bit, so that it looks like it's blending into those warm browns and yellows that we've used. So we are basically just blending it into the colors that we've previously applied on our eyes. Now what this technique does is it just enhances your eyes in the most beautiful and natural way. A feline flick or an inner corner wing really changes your eye shape like a lot, but this just enhances it in the most subtle way, and I've been loving that really subtle difference. I do go back and forth with the brush that I apply my brown eyeshadow with and just blend it into the bronze color just to make sure that there is a nice cohesiveness to the look and it's not looking too stark. I like to go back and forth a lot with my eyeshadows because I feel like that just makes your look like you've put some effort into it. Of course you are putting effort, and that's why it's looking like you're putting effort, but you know what I mean, right? You know what I mean. This is not as difficult as it looks. Honestly guys, if you practice it, you'll be able to do it in 10 minutes flat. I take about 5 or 8 minutes to do this, depending on what sort of a day am I having. If I'm having a good wing liner day, 5 minutes. If I'm having a bad wing liner day, 8 minutes, because I take a lot of concealer to fix it up, and then you know how it goes with wing liners, right? So yeah, I'm just blending this into the bronze just to make it look like, you know, they're one. Like it's just transitioning into the wing liner, and it didn't really require that body movement, but here we are. Next, taking this golden shade, I'm just going to put this in my inner corners just to highlight my eyes a little bit and make them just look more open and bright and just fun. I'm just placing it right here, and with a little bit of that eyeshadow, just a very tiny, because as you can see it's pretty potent, I'm just going to place it on the highest point of my brow bone. So right there, just to push them up a little bit and make it look like my lids have more space than they really do. Now with this look, you don't really need to add a liner. If you want to, you can of course add that, or you can add kajal or whatever you prefer. I'm just going to directly dive into my mascara, and I'm using L'Oreal's Voluminous Lash Paradise Mascara, and I'm just going to be enhancing my lashes with this one. I like the effect of this mascara a lot. However, I feel like if it flakes a little less, it would be slightly better. It flakes a lot, okay? So it does flake quite a lot, so that's the only thing that I don't like about this mascara. Other than that, it is a pretty bomb mascara. Now you can wear this look just as it is without false lashes. I have worn it out like that and it looked pretty awesome, so you can definitely do that. But because I do like the look of falsies, I'm going to quickly pop some on so that you can see how it would look with falsies as well, because I think it's always good to see both sides and both ways of makeup. So I'm going to just pop my lashes on. My lashes are on and they literally change the whole dynamic of the look. I love how my eyes are looking now. But I'm going to take Feline from MAC, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to apply a little bit of this in my inner corners just to connect the lashes to my lash line and make it look like I have something in the inner corner as well, and not just the band starting from where it's starting. I'm also going to apply a little bit on my tight line area just to make sure that there is no skin showing from there. I'm not applying this on my borderline, but just on my tight line. Moving on to my lipstick, I've generally been using MAC Soar Lip Liner. I've been loving it, I've been obsessed with it. But today I'm going to use Coffee by PAC and I'm going to just line my lips so that, you know, they have some definition to them. So I'm just applying them on my outer corner. And I'm also going to fill my lips in with this color just so that it makes my lipstick a little long lasting, especially because if you are going to be going out and you're going to be wearing a mask, you want your lipstick to be supremely long lasting, and using a lip liner as a base overall really helps in that. But I'm going to layer it up with a little bit of this Nykaa Luxe Matte lipstick in the shade Truffle. Again, a color that I've been obsessed with. It's so beautiful and I've been layering this up with different colors. So I'm just going to be applying this on top of this lipstick. It's literally just a lighter version of this shade. So it just gets a little bit of definition and a little bit of volume. So I'm concentrating this color majorly on my inner corners of the mouth. And then I'm just working it towards the outer corners just a little bit. And yes, with that we finished this tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you didn't, don't forget to comment and subscribe. It would mean the absolute world to me. Also, let me know what other tutorials you guys would like to see and I would love to do them for you guys. I'll see you guys next time. Till then, take care. I love you all so much. Mwah. Bye.